Welcome back, everyone. It's New Mutator bringing you Game 5 of Kickballers, Myth Kickballers, which is kind of a weekly thing that Rat King kind of cobbled together for the winter season of Myth to kind of get some talented players on online and kind of scrimmaging against each other, kind of in preparation of the tournaments that we see later on in the year. And for instance, Myth World Cup or something like that. But yeah, I think it was pretty fun. But as we can see here, this is the fifth game, and there have been some major roster changes. Let me just go over that really quick. So Donsky's team, he originally had Arsenic, Ankulator, and Mercardon, but now half his team are players that he didn't even have for most of the games in this series. So he's got Headhunter, Falcon. Also, Father, I think Falcon was in one or two other games, but Father Xmas and Browning. So he picked up some pretty some. Well, I don't know if they're really good players, but they're pretty good players, I think, overall. Pretty experienced players in any case. But on my team, so this is Donsky's team right here. Pewpew Lasers, and I'm actually captaining for Team of Noobs, which we're both tied coming into this game 5 at 2 games apiece. And the players on my team are pretty static, but however, we did lose one of our I think it was like my second pick. So we lost Rat King, who had to leave for some mysterious reason, but we did pick up Obelix, who was on Pew Pew Lasers in one or two previous games, so that's kind of interesting. And we did also pick up Kriniak in Game 4. So Kriniak is with us. But for the most part, my team is relatively the same. We have Giant Killer General, we have Sam the Butcher, Renwood, Milkman, and myself. Now, looking at the unit trade, like I'm struggling. We can see Donsky's, he's almost finished with handing out units. Like he'll be done in just a few seconds. And but me, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like I'm trying to hand out units, but like for some reason I struggled on this map. So basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to get like a good amount of thrall, but for some reason I didn't get enough to really have like an offensive thrall force, and instead like it was too much for just strictly defense, but not enough for like a thrall wall style push. So I think I really I kind of messed up with the trade here. I think I could have chosen a superior trade, but had to settle for something inferior. And for some reason, I'm taking so long to hand out units, as other players are drawing attention to that fact. But yeah, I didn't get maximum pus while Donsky did this game, so that I think also helped Pew Pew Lasers in as far as this game. And he also did get some thrall, but not as many as we did. And I also think I messed up in a couple other ways being the captain. So here I am trying to detach units still, and we can see Obelix has 1%. And let me know if the same thing happens to you, but for some reason I don't like select a bunch of units and then detach it. For some reason I select units, detach, select more units, detach. And so what happens is later on, after I've detached like the majority of the units, I start to forget who I've detached units to already, or what I gave players already, and so I just get mega confused, and I have to kind of pull up F7 and kind of go from that information there. And it can be kind of confusing for me if especially in a situation where I don't have the information right in front of me. So I think that really hurt in this game in particular. But as we can see, Donsky's team is very organized. They're right off the bat, they're moving out. And then my team is kind of disorganized. Like nobody knows what the plan is. But to be honest, we didn't really have a plan. So, or the plan that I thought we were gonna have didn't really work because of the trade that I chose. And so I was just about now realizing that as I'm looking at the mini map and realizing that nobody really knows kind of what to do because of the units that I've distributed the units that I chose first of all, and then the units that I've distributed. So Kruniak is over here, and he doesn't have any archers with him, so I'm going to try to go with him, but I'm like way behind because I've been, detaching units. Then I realized that we have like a bunch of archers mid, but like not a whole lot of melee. And then we have a bunch of Thrall just sitting on the flag doing nothing. Whereas Donsky only has a handful of Thrall on the flag. So these are a bunch of unit points just tied up, doing nothing. And then Renwood's gonna try to, I thought maybe he would take the Thrall out to kind of hold against, any kind of force trying to get through the wall, just kind of prevent anything from getting through, and or just tie him up. And if it worked, then we'd be able to kind of swoop in and come to his aid, or somebody might be able to do that. But for some reason, the trade didn't work. So here we see Giant Killer General. He's going to rush in and try to do some preliminary damage against this artillery here. So we see Father Xmas and Donsky with Arsenic are kind of the middle force. We also see Browning and Headhunter were the southern force, and then kind of in the northwest we had Ankulator and Murkerdon. So pretty good split, I think, by Donsky. So I think his captaining abilities this game so far clearly superior to my own. And so GKG's he kind of ran in there, tried to take out a bunch of archers, but then we see that we don't have a whole lot of melee here. So Kruniak is going to cross, and then what happens is I was going to cross with him because I was thinking, oh yeah, he needs some archers, but then I realized, well, I might just be stuck behind here, and so then I doubled back and I tried to come to the aid of this mid force. So that was a huge mistake because it took all of those archers out of the battle, like semi-permanently. They were not able to do any damage. If you're not doing damage with archers throughout the entire game, they're pretty much worthless. And so that was a huge mistake, but I just didn't know what to do with that. And very interesting that Kruniak's Puskul gets blown up, and the pus flies, and all of his melee gonna be cleaned up, no problem. And what the heck was that? I think he killed his own units there. That didn't work out for him. So kind of unfortunate there. Now all of a sudden, even though it's tied up for the most part, you can see that there's a huge discrepancy. We just don't have enough melee, and Browning's going to move in here and clean us out with Murkerdon and Arsenic. So there's just nothing we can do. We have a ton of archers, ton of archers with nothing to protect them. So it is game over at this point, even though these numbers look pretty close. They look close, but it's not going to be close in just a minute. So actually, Renwood did a pretty good job of holding this position against Headhunter, but at the end of the day, Headhunter's going to get through, or Falcon's going to get through with that dwarf, and there is just nothing standing between him and this flag. So, but what happens next though is pretty interesting. So here we have these archers just getting massacred. I think I got like one kill from from shift double clicking, but beyond that, it was a pretty horrible. I think I should have taken the unit trading points that I had in those archers that I took and just put them in pus and more melee. And so what Kruniak is doing is he actually survived with his dwarf. And where is his dwarf? Let me see if I can... Oh, here we go. He has a couple warriors and a dwarf en route to the flag. But... So they spot the warriors. I think he moved in a little too quick with the warriors. And so Arsenic was able to respond with Murkerdon's Puskul. I think Murkerdon choosing to send a Puskul at the last second was really fortuitous for Donsky's team, because it actually demonstrated like a lot of foresight, I think, in just, better safe than sorry kind of mentality, sending that out just in case this were to occur. So Kruniak is going to try to do as much damage to these Thrall as possible, but he's racing against the clock here, as this is our kind of our last ditch effort here to take this flag before ours falls, because all we have is Thrall standing in the way of the majority of these forces. So here we have Kruniak's dwarf And unfortunately, he was not able to block that pus. It goes down, and Arsenic is going to move in, clean up that dwarf, and Kruniak doesn't stand a chance. So unfortunately, that's just how it plays out. We have all this Thrall, and instead of just taking our flag, they're just going to kill every single Thrall and pad their ratios, which, you know, I'm not categorically against, you know, doing something like that. It's actually, you know, it looks pretty good in terms of your ratios, but it's not very fun to be on the receiving end of that. As we can see, there's Ankulator trying to get some more damage.
Flag captured.
But fortunately for whoever had that Thrall, they were able to walk off the flag before the Thrall were destroyed. So in the end, it was not really a close game. I think I kind of screwed our team in the end by not getting a good trade, first of all, not distributing it very well, second of all, and not having a very clear course of action, not a very good plan coming into the game. You know, like I said in a previous game in this week or in this series, I'm kind of the style, like I want to give people units that they instinctively know how to use, that I don't need to tell them what to do because they just automatically know how to use them. But I really think that I didn't succeed with that goal in this game. Like I think people had units and they weren't very clear on what they should have done with them. And I think that, you know, I think that's my responsibility. So I graciously accept defeat at the hands of Team pewpew lasers. But I think it could have gone differently, but it didn't. So unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So looking at the stats here, we can see that Browning actually did a ton of damage, and he managed to get a lot of kills also. 20 kills, 86 damage. He had kind of the Southern Warriors here, and he moved in, cleaned up mid. I think most of that is probably archers. Arsenic and Mercadon also doing really well. They also had warriors. So these are the three players that had warrior packs, and as you can see, they had the majority of damage for their team. And then kills as well, so 13 and 12 respectively for Arsenic and Mercadon. So I think that's what won them the game. Just the fact that we didn't have. I don't know if I want to blame it on Kruniak getting his warriors killed, because, you know, obviously that was kind of random how that worked out with the pus packet. His own pus packet, getting blown up and then freezing all of his warriors in this choke point and then just getting massacred. So that was kind of random, but at the same time, I don't know if he had survived, if we would have been able to take out that middle force, since they were being they were being what's the word, reinforced by several different players with warrior packs of their own. So I'm a little hesitant to blame that on Kruniak, on what happened to him. But in either case, I do admire Kruniak for having well, he did send his a couple of warriors, his remaining units, and his dwarf, and tried to sneak in a win at the last second. Had he succeeded, that would have been amazing, but unfortunately he didn't succeed. So that was actually a pretty good play, though, and probably the best performance from anyone on our team, despite the fact he lost pretty much everything. But I do want to thank the players on my team for trying pretty hard to take this game and the series, and of course, you know, everyone that made this series possible. So thanks again, and I guess we'll see you in the next game.
Team eliminated. Game over.
Can't get over the zoom out. It's awesome.